Best ever listeners, welcome to the best real estate investing advice ever show. I'm Fearless. This is the world's longest running daily real estate investing podcast. We only talk about the best advice ever. We don't get into any fluff. With us today, David Parnes and James Harris. How you two doing?
Good. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Nice to have you both on the show. And if you don't recognize David and James, well, then you need to watch the $1 Million Listing Los Angeles show. They are the hosts, and they're also co-founders of premium real estate service company Bond Street Partners. Their company boasts over 25 years of combined finance and real estate experience, and their listing portfolio currently exceeds $325 million, based in Los Angeles, California. With that being said, you two want to give the best ever listeners a little bit more about your background and your current focus?
Go for it, David.
Background. We're both British. Well, actually, we're American now. Well, actually, both. I moved here in 2009. I think, James, when did you move here?
I moved here about 12 years ago now.
Yes, 12 years. And we're real estate agents. We sell high-end real estate in Bel Air, Beverly Hills, Hollywood Hills, and we love it.
Okay, and so David, you moved here in 2009. James, 12 years ago. What was the tipping point for your company where you saw massive amount of success versus when you started?
I mean, for Dave and I, we started at the very bottom. We had no clients, we had no contacts, and we really worked it. So we started door knocking, we started holding open houses, we started getting listings. We got hold of several developers that became our life. And then we just went out and started looking for deals for those developers. And as we started selling those developers these deals, our business started evolving. And as we started door knocking, we started getting listings. Then we started, building relationships and getting listings. And one thing just led to the other, which led to the other. And here we are today, about 4 years later.
Mm-hmm. Door knocking, that can be a challenging experience, and I'm sure you've got some fun stories. What are the keys to success with door knocking?
I think it's just it's perseverance, it's consistency. Like with anything, it's just consistency. We used to make a spreadsheet. Actually, someone in our office showed us their spreadsheet and we copied it, and we would literally take it street by street in each area and literally list down every single address, and just both of us get in the car, rock, scissors, paper. You ever played that game before, Joe?
Yes, of course.
Well, we did that quite a lot, and it would be whoever lost had to get out the car, and we'd do it like we'd be playing too many rock, scissors, paper, so we'd have to do it like per side of the street. So if you lose, you're doing that whole side of the street. And it was quite funny because James and I actually pulled up to Dr. Dre's house, which is now sold in the Hollywood Hills, and we rock, scissors, papered it, and I lost. And I got out the car petrified and door knocked Dr. Dre's house, and no one answered.
When someone does answer, you're standing in front of the door, they open the door. What's the dialogue like?
Hi, how are you? In a
Yeah. No, but our pitch was that we were always looking on behalf of developers. So our pitch was very much our client isn't so concerned about the design of your home, but more concerned and more worried about the location. And our client loves this location. And so that would be how we'd get in the door, at least. And then we did have developers that would buy it. So for us, it was very much, we're not trying to be nosy and just have a look at your house.
I think James's connection. Did you get that, Joe?
Yeah, I got the most of it. Yes. So you weren't as concerned about the design of the home. You've got a developer who is more focused on the location. That way you can connect.
Yes, it's all worth it. Exactly.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. As far as developers go, it's a reoccurring theme I've heard from really high performing real estate agents. How did you come up with the approach of working with developers?
We didn't really have much choice at the time, because our biggest challenge when we started was, it's kind of like the horse before the cart and chicken egg, that kind of, basically, that we didn't have any track record. So it was very difficult for us to get a listing, because we were competing with a whole pool of realtors, a whole market full of realtors, who some of them had sold billions of real estate over their career. And, you know, for James and I, with no track record, to go and meet with a client and try and get a listing with no track record, it was difficult. So we had to get creative. We had to work with what was available to us. And we did notice that more and more development was going on in the locations that we were looking at, namely the Hollywood Hills, Bel Air, Beverly Hills. We wanted to hit the top end straight away, because that's where the office was based that we joined. And, you know, we just thought to ourselves, look, a developer has no interest on who brings in the deal, as long as the deal makes sense. So James and I kind of carved, not that niche, well, kind of that niche, because it was becoming more and more popular for people to maximize lots. And basically that would be through tearing down an old house and maximizing the lot by building a brand new construction. So, you know, armed with that information, we really had to do whatever we could to get deals to offer to the developers and essentially establish a relationship with them. And that was very popular for us, because once we sold a couple of them, then other neighbors around, we'd carpet bomb the area with newsletters, and we'd promote ourselves and the sale that we did. And then we would get calls from other residents in that area saying, did you sell that property? That is a tear down for that kind of money? And we'd be like, yeah. And they'd say, do you think you could do it for us? And we'd say, yeah, and we did. And that's really how we began to establish ourselves. And the best part is that once we sell a developer a teardown, they will typically, if they think we're good, which we like to think we are, they get listing on the back end once they've built the house. So essentially, we're establishing a track record from nothing.
I like that. I love that. I love that. It's very strategic. You just mentioned assuming that the developer thinks you're good, which you two clearly are, then you'll get the back end listing. What are some aspects that you excel at in your profession?
I mean, I think Dave and I are exceptionally good with marketing, being creative, thinking outside the box, looking at what our competition's doing and doing it differently, throwing events to attract buyers and new listings. And honestly, we're pretty known now for our marketing, and we've put a lot of time into that. And as David said, newsletters, being consistent, open houses, just making something of it rather than just sitting there for 3 hours and letting people come, actually creating buzz and an event. And from that, we've sold properties. From social media now, we've sold properties. So it's just about thinking outside the box and trying to be different to the competition. That's what we've done.
And then on that note, with the events to attract buyers, what does, if I were to come to one of your events, what would I experience?
We've done quite a few, actually. One of them, we met with a client in Hollywood, and he was a burner. And I've never been to a life. I don't think James has either. But he was like, he was a burner. He was like a hardcore burner. He took this thing so seriously.
What's a burner? I don't know what a burner is.
But neither did I, but I'll enlighten you, because he told me. Basically, someone that goes to Burning Man.
And takes it very seriously.
Okay, got it. He's all in. Got it. I'm with you.
Like all in, like this guy was on another level. So we thought, you know what, let's hold a Burning Man themed party at his house in Hollywood. It was a new construction. So we did that. We sold it for over asking price very, very quickly. There was a bit of drama in between. But we did that. We partnered up with Lamborghini before and had a whole Lamborghini test drive day at our house in Malibu. We've done a private dinner party, invitation only. I mean, James could probably tell you another 10 that we've done, but we really like to tune into the house in question and really create that experience that house has to offer, targeted to the buyer that we believe is best suited to that house.
That's beautiful. Do you think, how would you approach this if you weren't in Bel Air, but you were in Des Moines, Iowa?
That's a great question. Des Moines, Iowa. Approach what? Throwing an event or just marketing?
Take that however you want, either direction.
Honestly, I think no matter where you are in the world, no matter which city or state you are in the world, there's always someone that's at the top. And I personally find you just have to find out who's the best in the industry, who's doing the biggest numbers, and look at what they're doing. How are they doing it? What are they doing to get where they are today? And then try and recreate their success and make it your own. I don't think anything changes as far as door knocking or holding open houses. And maybe you don't have a lavish event with 500 people, but maybe you do something on a smaller scale. Like David said, if it's a smaller house and it's a charming traditional house, have an event that's going to be attractive to people that like traditional houses, not a modern house. I just think you have to tailor it for who your clientele is, and you have to tailor yourself as a broker for who your clientele is, and you have to become the person that you want to be and look at who's the most successful, and then, like I said, recreate your success. And that's what we've done here in LA, and it's worked.
I think the only thing I would add to that is if we're talking about Des Moines, Iowa, for example, we're always about, at the end of the day, there is a lot of glitz and glamour and, prestige associated with closing big deals, but it's still a grind. It's the same basic formula.
Right.
With your marketing. And as we both said, newsletters are very important. E-blasts are very important. When you hold an open house, make sure you have more open signs than anyone out. That doesn't really cost very much. Door knocking. And then, just really having a great listing presentation, because, once you get your foot in the door with that client, now is your time to shine. You've got to really, really sell them on your ability to present them, represent them, and really sell them on why you are the best person to sell their house. And if you believe it, and if you really work hard enough, it's going to happen. And from there, it's just that basic formula of grinding and not giving up, giving the best representation, imagining that, what you would want for someone selling your own house, because for most people, it's the majority of what they have. And that's a huge responsibility. And as long as you really believe that you are good enough and you can step up to the plate, then you will sell it. And James and I, are grinders, we're grafters, and that's what we do. And we never give up until we get the result. And I think that basic formula applies to not just where geographically you are, but also whatever business you're in as well.
Mm-hmm. And we've talked, or you two have talked about a lot of really good insights. Now, if you had to condense it into one thing, I'm going to ask you the $1 million question. What is your best advice ever for real estate professionals?
Go for it, Dave.
We're not reinventing the wheel. This is the beauty of this industry. It's a proven formula. Like James said earlier, there are people at the top of their game. In the high markets, they're selling billions. In the not so high markets, they're still selling tens of millions, hundreds of millions of real estate. So we already knew going into it that it is a proven formula. And if someone else can do it, then so can I. And I think it's self-belief, it's perseverance, and it's really making the most out of any situation. Just believing it, whether it's your first listing, then market it, go crazy. And a lot of marketing is word of mouth, is business cards, is e-blasts, is newsletters, is just listed cards, is pretty much anything. Sorry, someone just called my phone. Pretty much anything that can be used to get the word out there, because we're a marketing organization. Someone keeps calling me. We're a marketing organization, and that's what we do. So we just heavily market and promote and be grafting.
I love it. Are you two ready for the best ever lightning round?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. What's the best ever book you've read?
Oh God. Hold on. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
What's the best ever deal you've done?
God, there's quite a few actually. A lot of them confidential.
Yeah, I was about to say the Hustler Building on Sunset Boulevard.
What's the best ever way you like to give back?
Get back. What do you mean get back?
Like give back to the community.
I like to give back. I like to donate to animals, and that's where my heart lies, because I don't have kids at the moment. I have a lot of dogs. So for me, it's animals. And we also do give back homes. We actually help families in need build houses, which is an incredible organization that the agency is very, very strongly associated with.
And thinking back on just as your business has evolved, what's a mistake you've made along the way?
We make them all the bloody time.
Our website, we spent an absolute fortune on creating our website. And in the reality of the world, we really didn't need to go all out. But I guess you learn from your mistakes. We were trying to launch our business, brand our business, and we probably spent $60,000 on the website, which in hindsight was a mistake. But you learn from your mistakes.
And where can the best ever listeners get in touch with you or your company?
We typically, we have a great web presence. We have a great social media presence at David Bond ST and at James Bond ST. We put all our properties up, and, feel free to drop us an email. We do public speaking, and just look out for the next event that we're going to be speaking at.
Outstanding. Well, Dave and James, thanks for being on the show and talking about the evolution of your company and the foundation that you mentioned, the self-belief, the perseverance, and making the most out of every situation. That is, being as scrappy as door knocking, in one example on Dr. Dre's house, and then also the way that you 10x'd your growth, which sounds like having the developer connection. And as a real estate agent, I've heard that multiple times from successful agents. So I'm glad to hear that. And then lastly, catering your focus to the house and the ideal target buyer. The party or the events that you two host are certainly examples of that. So thanks so much for being on the show. Hope you have a best ever day. Yeah. And
thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Lovely. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much.